So we now move on to the second talk. So we all know one important challenge for leaders is procrastination. So how to take the decision, when to take the decision, and decision takes its own toll and time. So to help us get out of this procrastination, we have Anurag Mishra, young, dynamic Anurag. Over to you.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Greetings and regards from the land of Lord Jagannath. Now, I don't know how Prashant sir found out that I'm a big-time procrastinator, and he wanted me to speak on my journey and how I actually overcame that, so to speak, hurdle. And we would try to get to my story, but that's a little later. Let's try and expand this term, procrastination. This meme GIF would tell you what procrastination is. We all know what it is. Postponing the job at hand till the very last moment, right? So that's what the word means, but it has a lot of ramifications, a lot of branches, a lot of aspects and facets to understand. But before we get to all that, let me just speak to you for a couple of minutes with regards to two mythological epics that run in India. A couple of minutes back, we heard a comprehensive coverage of the Mahabharata. I'll also take you back to those days and touch upon the untouched areas of the Mahabharata. These are the pictures of the Kuru Sabha, the infamous Kuru Sabha, and then what happened to Draupadi, royal disrespect and humiliation. There was an estimated 50 people in the court on that day. The Pandavas could have taken to the war then and there and could have won it. What happened on the contrary was they postponed it by 13 years. They ultimately won the war, but at what cost? It has been estimated that 400 million people lost their lives, and there were only 11 survivors from both the sides combined. Ramayana, on the other hand, Hanuman goes, meets Sita Maya in the Vatika, offers her to carry her back to Lord Rama. She refuses. Then ensues the Lankan war. The battle is finally won by the Lord, but at what cost? It's been estimated that approximately 320 million Rakshasas, demons, fine, but there's still lives lost. And there's no estimate to how many Vanaras were dead. Both of these stories will tell you that there is the truth, the win for the truth. Righteousness prevails over the evil. But those messages come at the cost of several millions lives lost. In the eyes of humanity, in my eyes, this procrastination was a failure. You might say that this gives you a very strong statement for years to come, for ages to come, fine. But in the eyes of humanity, to me, they're still failures. Right, let's try to understand procrastination. Is it synonymous with laziness? Is it synonymous with negligence? Or is it a different term altogether? Laziness, as we all know, is delaying to push a start button due to reluctance to put in hard work. It might be related to procrastination, but a lazy person might not be a procrastinator, and vice versa. We have known many people, like the ones we saw. Leonardo da Vinci was another example. He was a big-time procrastinator. That's the reason why he left many of his projects unfinished. Not because he was lazy, because he was something else. We'll come to that a little later. Negligence is intentionally not realizing the repercussions. We'll not go into the details of that, but that's definitely way afar from where procrastination is. There are 6 types of procrastinators, me being one of them, but I'll put myself in one of those categories. The first category is the perfectionist. Fear of failure or doubts about the right way. This is where the Pandavas belong. This is where Sita Maya belong. They were perfectionists and did not know the path they were about to choose was right or not. The dreamer. They think the fate will, the dreamer, they always think with their eyes closed. Fate will intervene. There's no need to do hard work. That's the second type. The worrier, resistance to change. All of you in some job somewhere, there is a salary security. You feel the fear of leaving that and starting on your own, just like Divakant was mentioning a little while earlier. We have a fear of losing that security, of some balance being credited to our account at the end of the month. That's the worrier. The crisis maker, ignore the inevitable till intensity catches up or you're forced to do. That's where I belong. I was working in a hospital till I realized I could work there no longer, and then I left and started on my own. That's where I belong. The defier, no one dictates my time. I am the judge of my own destiny. I decide what to do. Forget about the feedback I receive from people. The defier. And the overdoer. Take up too many tasks and then get lost. You're in a web. You can't get yourself free, right? So that's the overdoer. These are the 6 types of categorize yourself. I'll not give this to you as a task, but categorize yourself where you belong, because that is the solution to the next step. There are 3 stages. Now I'd come to my story and just touch upon that in a nutshell. There are 3 stages in every professional's life. The crawl stage, then comes the walk stage, and finally, there ensues the run stage. The crawl stage for me began on my fellowship. I had no dream, no desire, no objects, no goals to achieve. 2 long-term fellowships back-to-back in Ireland, Antwerp-Segment, and Pidov and Strabismus then at AIH Madurai. I just concentrated on fine-tuning my skills. All of you should do that. Fattening the CV and getting the license to kill at the end of the period. Nothing in mind as to what I'm going to do after that. Since I was working at a hospital already, that was back in 2004, I came back and then the walk stage began at the hospital itself. Again, no objective. This is where I should have had an objective. This is where I should have had a dream. I did not. The number game started. How many surgeries you do, how many premiums you do, how many foldables you do. Content at being a high-volume surgeon at the hospital. I was very happy. I'm the #1 surgeon in the hospital, then the district, then the state. And the perks you earn at the moment, I mean, in return, 27,500 rupees per month was my salary. This was in 2011. Okay? Still, I did not have an objective in life. And then the stage came when we had a terrible rift with the management. I realized that I cannot breathe anymore here. All the 11 consultants who were working at the hospital, all of us left because the reverie was broken. That's where actually the run stage began. What happened after that is based on this trinity of 3 Ds, and I want to explain that to all of you. The 3 Ds consist of dream, desire, and drive. Dream and desire are actually interchangeable. The only difference being, dream is what you see with the eyes closed, and desire is what you see the same with your eyes open. Desire just makes it more practical. Dream is more impractical, comparatively. And drive is what pushes you through. Your dream can be anything. You want to establish a hospital, you want to branch out, you want to do more number of surgeries, you want to do femtos, you want to publish, you want to speak from podia, it can be anything. But the dream has to be intent. So how do you achieve that? In dream and desire combined, you need to have a potential purpose, awaken the inner side. And to do that, it's very important to reflect on the feedback you receive from people and reflect on them dispassionately, so that you can come to a conclusion. I did not do that. I ignored the feedback that you're not made for this hospital. You're made for something else. I ignored that feedback for such a long time. Gauge the intensity of your desires. It's not important to dream or desire. It's important to gauge the intensity, how seriously or sincerely you want to achieve what you want to achieve. And start in small steps. Don't look at the earth as a huge astronomical sphere. Look at it as microparticles conglomerated together. Take one step at a time and start moving. It's a start that is important. Drive, disciplinize yourself. Get out of the blocks, because those are the shackles you have put on yourselves. So get out of those shackles and get yourself free. Prepare for the trade-off. If you are into private practice, you can't expect to get free at 5 o'clock in the evening. It's not a 9-to-5 job. So you have to be prepared for the trade-offs. It involves your time as well. Trust your craftsmanship and improve if you're not good in small steps. You know that your rexis is not exactly round. That's one step you want to improve on. Work on it for the next 100 cases, and you will get there. Learn to adapt at each step, and obviously the outcome would be there to marvel. So coming back to my story, when I started, I did not want to be a person who would publish a lot of articles. I did not want to be a person who would be internationally acclaimed. All I wanted was my center to be technically well-equipped. I love working with machines, and I love understanding them, getting to their roots, microanalyze them, and then get the complete picture in the preoperative room. So after I started my hospital in 2012, every calendar year, we started adding up the equipments one by one. It has continued, the trend has continued till 2023. So you can see the trend there, you can see the ladders there, the steps in the ladder there. Every calendar year, we have added on something. I'm very happy that you ask me anything with regards to these equipments that I use. I can tell you tits and bits on paper, sometimes even more than the company engineer can provide you with. So what I achieved in the end was an assembly of equipments. What the other things that happens in the hospital are just byproducts. What I really achieved was this, because this is what I wanted to achieve. In my life, I have never ever accepted mediocrity. And this is the reason why you need the support system of the technology. And I've built an ecosystem which is enjoyable for all concerned, the practitioner, the support staff who works there, and every patient that works in. So, if you want to be motivated, watch a motivational video on YouTube one evening, go to sleep, the next day you get up at 9:30 in the morning. The motivation is gone out of the window, dispersed and vaporized. So instead of motivation, just split that term into motive action. Have a motive and put some action to it to achieve it. Remember, you always start with one step. As I said, do not look at the earth as an astronomical sphere. Look at it as a conglomeration of tiny particles. Take one step at a time. What that does is, essentially, it moistens the soil. And when the soil is moistened, the cotyledon breaks, and there you have the sprout. All the best to all of you in your career of leadership, and end the procrastination this day onwards. Thank you so much.